Alright everybody, hello and welcome to another modern stream. It's been a minute since I've been playing my Green Wave Reclaimer build, and this is a little bit similar to the approach that Musasabi takes to this kind of deck, which is again the similar approach that I had for Titan Vial, which is I like to build my Titan Vial versions a little bit more toolbox heavy than the ones that you're usually seeing in that everybody's playing. Really, everybody is going more towards a Titan centric approach and trying to maximize playing Eternal Lands and Explorers and Our Promise is the new innovation that X Whale has been using. So that is one approach to do in your deck building when you're talking about this deck. Personally, I like the approach of having access to more toolbox cards in the main deck. So you can see that I have two Skyclave Operations, one Ramirez Excavator, one Tireless Tracker, one Springloom Druid. We also have the one Steve and the one Grazer. Explorer is kind of like the one that feels a little bit the most random, to be honest. Maybe this should be another Grazer or something like that, but I wanted to try the split. This is the first time that I'm going to be looking at this specific list. One thing that I did do, however, is I added another fetch land to my mana base. I have been liking having access to this many fetches. It makes having turn 1 mana for Reclaimer a lot more consistent, so I'm always happy when it comes to adding lands to my deck, you know, sue me, whatever. The card that I decided to cut was the Arcan. Yes, it is definitely like a powerful tool against the combo decks in the format that we actually do have a pretty weak game 1 matchup against. But it just didn't... What's the word? It kind of did not outweigh the downsides of just naturally drawing it in a bad matchup. It was a little bit too weak, and without something like it's kind of similar to what happened in Legacy, like the version that I was playing in Legacy yesterday. It's a little bit similar in that sense. Like the Archon just kind of did not seem worthy, and even when you did draw it, it might not actually be able to close it. So I decided to just cut it all together and, you know, just like make room for more consistency cards. The sideboard I'm trying Winds of Abandon this card is kind of seeing a lot of uptick, mostly because of the Taxes deck becoming a lot more prominent. So 2 Winds of Abandon, also for humans as well. Although humans is a pretty solid matchup for us. While the Taxes matchup might be a little bit more problematic. The 3 Purges, that's what I did. One of the cards that I cut to make room for wins. One of the main reasons to be playing Purge in the first place was the black-red Shadow deck. So Winds of End kind of does a very similar job there. Obviously, we're missing some points against the Prowess deck because being able to answer Blood Moon with the same card that we answer their threats is a big deal, but you know, you win some, you lose some. Mind Sensor, Eidolon, Second Tracker, Oof, Knight, and Teague are all of our toolboxy cards. Of course, in the matchups where these are good, we just bring those in. Pretty straightforward. 3 Boils for the blue decks, which, you know, fuck Aether Gust. And finally, 1 Tectonic Edge against Tron, the mirror match. I actually have been pretty happy having access to Tectonic Edge in my sideboard because it has a lot of more random uses, and very often you have a land that you want to side out anyway, so you don't mind sometimes being able to keep your land count the same. Particularly, we were using Taxes as an example. For example, like Bog is terrible there, but like Tectonic Edge is basically a strict upgrade, so it's pretty sweet. Xarxis with the tier 1 sub, coming back 14 months now. Thank you so much for the continued support, Xarxis. Really appreciate it. Hey, Team Plasma guy, how's it going? Editing the cast has been a lot less of a pain in the ass this time around. Oh, really? That's awesome, House. So I imagine that the cast is gonna be getting uploaded today. Not the best hand that I've ever seen. But we have Splinter Twin, so it's all good. We also get to put Bog back in the deck in case we're playing against a combo deck or Dredge. Just good value all around. Arguably, I guess we're playing against humans, so no, but I was gonna say, arguably it might be better that we got to mulligan. Which is funny. I don't think that's the case, but because we're playing against humans, but there's an argument that it might even be an upside that we mulliganed, because we just get to put Bog in the deck again. How's our Esper Shadow matchup? Esper Shadow is not a deck, Scroats McGee, so it's not. Just getting a basic forest, I think. And right now, I just asked Jose, however, if he could get like a headset or something because there was some pretty little fever. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. The quality of the microphone does matter a lot. How is the match against Season Blitz? Bad. Again, is that even still a deck? I feel like Blitz has all but disappeared at this point. I lost my 5-0 to it earlier. I mean, that doesn't mean that the deck is popular. Pretty upward draw from our opponent here. And because this is not a Reflector Mage, we're gonna get to just Flagstones for Flagstones, which is great. Let's get Scatter Growths out of my deck. Oh, let's get another Flagstones. Untap land would be great, that's awesome. So now we can play Dryad, play this, and now we can... We're definitely getting Valak at this time around, but... I don't think they have main deck Dismember, so I'm just gonna pass. Yeah, Brazen Borrower and Blood Moon it, jeez. We're probably killing this Mantis Rider. Meddling Mage resolves. Reflector Mage could be a little bit annoying, but Mantis Rider doesn't do anything. Okay, so we win. Great start. Great start. If we take 6, is this just lethal? This is just lethal, isn't it? Though I guess it's lethal regardless, so I might as well kill their dude for value. So this and this. Reclaimer, sack forest, get Valakut, save targets. Oh, yeah. We fetch, we play land. Winds of Abandon, let's go. Oof. Maybe? I guess I don't like oof, but I do like Night of Autumn. I was called an NA Magoose the other day on stream. I'm starting to see it. What do you mean, NA? If Neoform is still around, why can't Summer Bloom be around? Because Summer Bloom is consistent. Yeah, I guess I like this setup. Yeah, okay. Let's go with this. Oh, North American Magoose. Okay, because of the salt. Opponent kept 7. This is not the worst, but it's also not good, so let's ship it. This is a lot better, sweet. We're gonna keep this. What do we bottom? Is the question. I guess let's ship the snow covered forest. We might get punished by this. It's not impossible that it might just be correct to bottom the sanctuary there. Because the tapped land might cost us. This is fine. Best draw would have, of course, been best draw would have, of course, been Flagstones, but it is okay. So I'm thinking that I kind of want to Skyclave next turn. Reflector Mage could be a problem. This forces the action. Lieutenant? Oh. Tight play from opponent. Are we really about to call for a Boreal Gracer? Is that what's going to happen now? Are we really about to call for a Boreal Gracer? I think we are, Chad. And I'm bouncing here because now we can Titan. If we top deck a Titan. Because my opponent did not name Primetime here. This is bad though. Like I think that we were fine until my opponent named Apparition here, which was a very heads-up play. Very, very heads-up play. Reflector plus Apparition. It's rough. This was a very, very powerful draw from our opponent. We can go that at 5. Oh wow. Brutal. They of course named Primeval Titan. That was an extremely, extremely powerful draw from them. Extremely powerful draw. I still like the setup, so we're gonna just do it again. Good draw, please. Nope. Is this a keepable draw though? We can go turn 2 call for Dryad. I actually like this hand. Like, it's super weird, but I think it's actually a fine keep. We call for Dryad, we have Winds. We can set it up on turn 4. Honestly, it seems pretty solid to me. Like, lands are good and spells are good. We don't have double green. That's the only downside that this head has. But that's fixed by the Dryad. We also have the Natty Valakut, so any land represents lightning bolts. Okay. And the fact that this is a call, even if my opponent plays a meddling mage on 2 naming Dryad, we're still kind of fine, because we can just call for something else if we need to. That's pretty good. Oh, hello. We can call for Spring Bloom. We could call for Spring Bloom here. Because of how they tapped, they actually can oof. We're gonna show them the Blast Zone, unfortunately, but I'm definitely playing Dryad here, just getting the lands out of my hand. I think I'm actually gonna go for Spring Bloom, because it gives me 2 triggers. This is looking pretty fine to me. So now they know about the Blast Zone, so even if they stop what I'm doing here, I can just crack Blast Zone, and I still put my opponent pretty behind. They're cracking canopies. They're cracking lands in the face of my Blast Zone. That's gonna blow up all of their dudes. I don't know how much I like that strategy. So that doesn't do anything. That doesn't do anything. It only means that I get to untap this Valakut. So cast wins. Green 1/1. Play Spring Bloom. Sack this white and forest. Trigger. Always yes, always healed. No real need to attack, just chill. I guess they could have another Magus. Second Magus could be a problem. That's not red mana. Sweet. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Play this tapped. Valakut there. Play this. Get in there, Spring Bloom. I don't think I care about their mana. I'd rather just save this in case my opponent plays a Mantis Rider or something like that. We still have Blast Zone if we want to blow up both of these. I think this game is just officially over. Cycle away, my friend. Cycle away. So I swing for 3 with the Steve. That's 3, blows this up. Then I clear up the 1s. They are at 9. They take 3, 6. Sure, that sounds fine to me. We hold on to that one. 1, 2, 3. Clear the 1s. This clears a blocker, and they only have mana to play 1 threat. Even if they have Magus, we win. Basically, nothing matters anymore. As I was saying earlier, I think that the humans matchup, barring like an incredibly good draw from them, like they had on the second game. Barring something like that, I feel fairly favored in the matchup. Like, we just have so many tools. This is an amazing tool. This is an amazing tool. We can get whichever tool they don't melee mage. Field is good. Blast Zone is good. Prime Time is good. Winds, Path. Like, we just have too much stuff. Their melee mages are very, very, very taxed. This deck is so great. I love this deck so much. Every time I play it, I'm like, damn, this deck is fun. Every time I play, finish a match, and I'm like, that was exciting. I had a good time right there. Okay, what do we got here? An unkeepable hand. Put him all to 5. I think I'm gonna keep this one. Most to 4. Maybe Tron. Maybe Oops. If we top deck Reclaimer, I'm gonna be very, very happy. That's actually not the worst. Huh. I don't love that draw, but sure. I don't think it shouldn't be Storm, at least. Play Dryad? Archmage's Charm? Okay. Maybe I should have played Steve again. Play Steve now. I guess this is bad against Archmage's Charm. But if they steal my dude, I can just play a Titan though. So I actually don't think I mind this that much. Unless they have Charm into Remand, that would be bad, or Charm into Mana Leak or whatever. But yeah, I love that my 1-drop just forced my opponent's hand. Like, that is just so good. I mean, it's my freaking 1-drop, which just forced my opponent to do something. They spent 3 mana to answer it. Yeah, I think my opponent is some form of blue moon. I think at this point I just have to jam, unfortunately. That's good. So field. Just double field here. Yeah, just double field. Double field is also better against my opponent having an Emrakul, because we can just sack the Sombos. They could have Lightning Bolt, but like this is not even that bad for us. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sack Flagstones, and 6. They shuffled everything. And now we serve. We get Radiant Fountain plus Celestia Sanctuary, so we can get out of bolt range. And then we probably play a second Titan, because I really want to get Ghost Quarter so we cannot get Cryptic locked. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ghost Quarter, and BUG doesn't do anything. That's funny. Yeah, let's not lose to Bolt, Snap Bolt. I think at this point my opponent needs to find the combo, or they are just dead. So they need second Breach, second Emrakul. Easy. Nice Emrakul, opponent. Nice Emrakul. Nice Emrakul, nerd. I like Knight of Autumn better than Apparition, because Knight of Autumn, if they have a package with Empyrean, Knight of Autumn, it's a lot better. Gracer sucks. Primetime ETV Trigger with a tier 1 sub for the full year. Happy anniversary, Primetime ETV Trigger. Good morning from Australia. Well, good noon, I guess, from the US. Thank you so much for the full year of support. Thank you so much. That 4 keep was strong. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that was a really powerful keep from our opponent. Agreed. This is a card that always feels interesting to me in this kind of matchup. But it's very, very tough to evaluate how powerful this card actually is. Guess I'd rather have Apparition to answer Blood Moon instead of Purge. Is the last few days over several $100 worth of cards through your TG Play, and I was ordering through mobile device, but didn't see any way to tell that it worked. Yeah, I don't know if it works when you order through mobile, which is a problem. If we had 2 lands, I would snap keep this, but we don't, so this is better. Keep this, probably just bottom the field. Basic Forest. Stifle? Okay. Snow-covered forest. like Eidolon for its bolt immunity. It's more of a matter of does its effect warrant its inclusion. That is basically what you gotta figure out. Okay, so they definitely have a Blood Moon. Or not. Whoa. So I guess they have an early combo? Definitely want to get a basic. And what to get here is interesting. We could just get field here. Stevie B, thank you for the follow. I guess I want to get a fetch land. Or I guess it doesn't have to be a fetch. We can get castle. I just need a green source because I'm planning on potentially calling next turn. And if this reclaimer dies, I want a reclaimer. If it doesn't die, I want to play the Flagstones. Man, we're Flagstone slotted a little bit here. Now we can just play the Primetime. We can get a cavern for Primetime next turn, is what I mean. Tech Edge is interesting, but we can just get Tech Edge this time around. There's no need for us to get Tech Edge that time around. And again, I explained I didn't know whether I was untapping with this thing or not, so I wanted to, you know, leave myself the option to be able to Reclaimer plus call in the same turn. Gusto. Yes. Second Plains. I guess I'd rather get tickets here. And we send that one to the bottom. We already have another one of this guy's. That's a card. I think I'm definitely upkeeping this. Or if they fetch, I'm blowing the Steam Vents in response. Ticket. Sure, no need to give them the mana to do anything. Resolves. This is worthy of a screenshot right here. Thanks for fixing my mana, opponent. Yes. Oh, too good. Too good. We're 2-0. I couldn't do it in response because I didn't have a red mana. My opponent fixed my mana for me. This is a great tweet. This is a great tweet. How do we do it? I need to do a little heart emoji. Hell yeah. Picture taken seconds before disaster. Picture taken seconds before disaster. Opponent, are you there? Client 7. I hope this is not the I'm looking for your stream pause. Looking for the good old I'm looking for your stream to ghost you pause, you know. It's a fine keep. We're down to 5, so I guess that and this will have to go. Lol. Please meal yourself, 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 please meal yourself. Target yourself. Oof. They did. We are on a mole on the draw against this deck though, so we might still just die. Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty bad. If they have a glimpse or something, we are pretty fucked. Still, I'd much rather play against this all day than mill, particularly when with no anti-mill cards in my sideboard. They fetch, shocked, and then did nothing. I mean, that's a play they can make. Oh, I guess that they just have to fetch shock because in case they milled grave crawlers, maybe, or something like that. But they decided to hold because of the Vengevine. Dread Shadow. Attacks, hold back Narco. That is interesting to say the least. These are the kind of situation where when Stringbloom Druid really shines. Is when you like mulligan and then you go into a Flagstone's hand, and now all of a sudden like Springbloom kinda helps you come back. We won't be able to actually come back, but it does a lot to help. So now if we draw a Titan, we can just play it next turn. We also got a nice little Champerino for our troubles. Is Druid better than Harrow? Well, you can call for Druid and you cannot call for Harrow, so yes, it is better. Lucky for me, my opponent hasn't had... Okay, I talked too soon. I was gonna say they haven't had the best mills, but then... Yep. Is second Druid better than the first Harrow? I mean, there's a reason why I'm not playing 2 Druids, right? So that should hopefully answer the question. So this is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We go down to 1. Which means that we just lose 2 Narcomoebas in the air. If this were game 2 and we could draw into Winds of Abandon, might be okay, but there's nothing we're drawing towards here. That was our best draw. So like we would have been able to turn 4 Titan. So if we had been on the play, I think we actually stabilized that game, which is wild to think, right? Definitely won the wins. And I want the Eidolon. Mind Sensor is interesting. They might have Ashiok, so that's why I don't want to cut Skyclave altogether. They sometimes have Ashiok because they can just mill themselves with Ashiok, and that could be problematic. I definitely want to have access to some answers to Ashiok. F for no blessing. Blessing wouldn't do anything. Like if I had blessing, this is not mill. We're not playing against mill. We're playing against CrabVine. What is the second best card for Zendikar Rising? Omnef. This is the best card from Zendikar Rising. Even on the draw seems good. No. Well, first of all, we're on the play right now. And I don't think I like Haven anyway. How good are paths? Not very. But they answer Vengevines, which Purge does not. I'm tired of losing against Cryptic Command Lock Udo decks with Amulet Titan. Which splash would you say is currently better against these decks? Red for Boil, yeah. And play some number of Relics. Relics is one of the best cyber cards against that deck. We snap this off, obviously we have turn 2 BUG CrabVine, so my opponent's gonna need an answer to this Reclaimer in order to have a shot this game. This hand is really powerful. Really, really powerful. Also, they moved to 5. Good for them. They chose the game where I am on the play and I have the absolute nutter butters in order to for the round to be mulligan into 5. So smart choices from OP. Smart choices to mulligan on the correct game. I love how strong the Reclaimer package is. Yeah, it's amazing. It literally just wins the game on its own. Like, I joke that this is Splinter Twin, but It really feels like it. Don't push me, bro. Don't push me. What are you doing? Oh, god damn it. Based on what they fetched, though, now they can't... They can't crab this coming turn. I guess I don't really know what I'm calling for just yet, so I think I'm going to spend this turn to Eraser. Why do you think they don't have crab? Because they fetch for an overgrown tomb instead of a water grave. They either don't have crab or they fucked up. It could also be both. It could also be both. Assassin's Trophy. Wow. I actually think that we just call for Reclaimer here. Because it plays around Thoughtseize and it forces my opponent to have an answer right now. And it just wins the game just the same as a Titan would. It just wins the game a little bit slower, particularly because we have double flagstones. My only problem with Reclaim is that everywhere I make makes it to move it, so it really stays longer than 2 turns. Yeah, but you only need 1 activation to pull pretty far ahead, so... So we're just going to pass the turn. This game is over now. I don't think my opponent has any out at winning this game anymore. I could clear the graveyard to make room for Gurmag to prevent Gurmag Angler from happening, but just Gurmag doesn't matter. What did they find? That's fine. That doesn't matter. Blog, thank you very much. Let's sack this. Scar of the Groves. And we could call for dry. I think I'm just gonna let's just call for Titan. Let's just not mess around. Let's just end this game now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I guess now I am gonna bog. We're done here. Anyone I play with against the Vesper-like body double 5-0 list? No, I have not. Is there a new combo in town? Is it Footsteps of Degorio? Or something like that? I don't think I'm gonna make any changes. Footsteps of Degorio, man. That why is that word tough to pronounce for me? Footsteps of Degorio. There you go. I have to really slow down and think about what I'm saying. I saw it listed as 4-color Mill MTG Goldfish. 62 card special from opponent. I really don't know who is in charge of naming decks, but the naming convention in Goldfish is it's just really, really bad. I don't know who's in charge of that, but they should find somebody else. I think it's just somebody that, you know, it doesn't, they don't name everything by hand. Okay, that would make sense. This hand is super close. I think we can do better on 6. That's actually not bad. We have an answer to Crab. We have an apparition. Our best draw is once again Springbloom Druid. So as long as there's no Vengevine this turn, we should be fine. But if there's a Vengevine here, we might have a problem. No vines is good. Mill themselves for 4. Yep. I think I'm gonna have to upkeep Path the Crab. Then we can apparition the Crawler. How's it going, Alex? Oh, Fluffy 5-0 with this, awesome. One of Jim Gitaxia's core ogre. Hell yeah. We can beat this. Again, what I was the most afraid of was just the Vengevine coming down. Vesperlark, JVP, Ashen Rider, Woodfall Primus, hell yeah. I'm all about Woodfall Primus, that's my jam right there. Definitely am a Woodfall Primus gamer. Thing exiles. How sick is that? Been waiting for Vesperlark to make it. I think the card is just waiting to do something big. Vesperlark is a cool card. Also, my opponent shouldn't have fetched there. Now if they draw push, they can't kill the apparition. Their life total basically does not matter. So if they have to fetch for a Vengevine, like they're still fine. And if they draw a Crab, they missed on a chance to mill 3. So that was a pretty bad fetch for them actually. There was no oh. We may be able to raise that guy though. Udo without Cryptic Command. It's a lot easier to beat. Take 2. That sucks. Um, just gonna gain some life. I don't understand why my opponent's fetching here. That makes no sense to me. I guess this is bad against the Assassin's Trophy, which my opponent showed me last game. Ugh, Thoughtseize is also potentially problematic. If they top deck a Thoughtseize, they might actually get there. We really whiffed this game. Not much for us to do about it, but really wish we hadn't whiffed so badly. Narco's fine. That's all they found. They haven't been doing particularly well with all those mills. Beetlejuice. Yeah, give me castle. Give me a castle off the top right now. Castle me up, baby. Castle me up. How hard am I toolboxing right now? Pretty damn hard, if I have to be honest. Toolboxing pretty damn hard right about now. We're gonna have to chomp the Udo here. Oh, come on. What are you doing this to me, deck? We're totally gonna draw something of relevance on this next turn where we cannot actually deploy it. That sucks. Feel like back a few years, outside Toolbox deck had more silver bullets somehow. Well, those decks had less actually good cards, right? That's double Vine, which could present a problem. If they have a land, they can actually trigger Vines if they sack their Udo. Oh, they just have another creature? Fuck. Man, we were so close to getting there. Just have an Amalgam. We were so close to getting there, but now we got lethaled. That's so brutal. We whiffed so many turns. Like, even something like Path would have been fine, too. We had so many good draws. Like, this would have been great, this would have been great, this would have been great. That sucks. I think that's actually a good matchup for us. So that makes it less bad. But yeah, so the Toolbox decks from back then, like this is a Toolbox decks, but we have so many slots that are kind of written in stone. Like these 4s are written in stone, these 4 are written in stone, and these 4 are written in stone. So like 12 out of our 19 creatures are just like scripted for us. So unfortunately, easy mulligan. This one's not so easy. I think this one's a keep. Also running a lot of lands, that's also true. Very, very much true. There's 2 ways that we could do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I guess that we just fetch for forest. Play Steve. This allows me to play around turn 2 Arbiter. which my opponent does have, obviously. Excellent. I think we're going for this. If my opponent plays Giver, I'm going to pass the Arbiter right now. If they activate... I guess I want to see if they have the Giver. They do. So we're going to pass the Arbiter right now. Hopefully they don't have a second Arbiter, but... Second Arbiter would be backbreaking, but we can't really play around it, so... Any land would be a great draw. Just do that main phase. Makes sense. Second Giver. Okay. Just get ramming up. Please don't have the path. If they don't have the path, I think we just win here. Protection from green? This is not gonna work out for them. Okay. Fetch. Yes, kill this. Yeah. All right. I think it's funny that cards like Arbiter and Blood Moon don't have any effect on middle school Magic, but are backbreaking in tournaments. I don't know what you're talking about there. Middle school Magic. This is good, this is good, this is good, this is good, this is bad. This is bad. It blocks flyers, but it's kind of whatever. Magic that you would play back in middle school, really cheap cards, so it's almost all basics and not a lot of tutor effects because you haven't realized how good they are yet. Oh, yeah. Besame Mucho is my new favorite song. Cool. We're on the draw now. I guess I actually don't like Tech Edge. We're fine. Want all of my removal. One call can go, one Titan can go. And these are good, this is good, these are good. Streamloom Druid is a little bit medium. Interesting. Okay. Move to 6. No arbiter. Pretty big deal. Gonna go fetch right now, I think. Archon of Emeria. It's kind of fine. I'm just gonna go with Reclaimer. They can only play one spell. So if they play Arbiter, they can't protect it. Second Ghost Quarter means that they might be able to get rid of one of my lands for free. But also, there's no reason for me to make any moves, so we can just chill here. Play nothing. Troker comes tapped, I know. Why not play Troker? Yeah. That's why I got the ETB tapped land out of the way, right? Thalia. Am I interested in pathing anything here? Because if I want to path this Archon, I kind of do want to path this Archon. So let's do that. My opponent already played a land and they don't have a white source, so they cannot arbiter unless they go squatter themselves, and if they go squatter themselves, I'm pretty happy about it, so. Mind Sensor is the only way I get punished, but I could not really beat Mind Sensor anyway because of the Thalia that my opponent's playing here, so if they have Mind Sensor, they just have Mind Sensor. Temple Garden, and I guess I can force a field activation here. I think I'm just gonna get another Flagstones. Yeah, I think we just main phase. We just main phase crack. Because I'm considering that we can call for Dryad, cast the Dryad, get one trigger in, but that doesn't seem too effective, particularly with my opponent having 2 Ghost Quarters there. And actually, because of the Ghost Quarters, I might be interested in getting Raminap with this Eladamri Skull. So I think we're just going to get the Zombie Apocalypse going a little bit here. Okay, this is best case scenario. Now I get to blow up the Battle Skull. Yeah, this is like the best thing that could have happened. So this is from the Ghost, the field, I guess the field. Yes, let's get that Sacred Foundry. Now we get another Field of the Dead. And now I guess we get Valakut into play, yeah. And now we blow up the Battle Skull. This just developed in the best possible way for us. I don't know why my opponent cracked there. I guess that they didn't want me to be able to get yet another zombie. They have infinite ways of destroying my lands, but they just don't really matter. Like, they can do all they want, but it just doesn't matter. It would matter if they had, like, Arbiter, like, exactly right now. And they don't, because otherwise they would have played Arbiter there, so we're good to go here. This is a massive amount of whatever. This is exactly what happened to me the other day when I was playing this deck on stream this past Friday. It's just like, when you fall behind, there's literally nothing that you can do. Like, you're just dead. Like, if your opponent just managed to pull ahead, that's it. You are just dead, and there's nothing that you can try to... There's nothing that you can achieve. They didn't want to let you go crazy on zombies. I think they're trying to just deny the fields. I'm not expert on your deck, part of what I'm watching, so why it's not a good idea to just kill all the fields? No, it's not that it's a bad idea to just kill all the fields. It's that my opponent is not really killing me. So I guess that it's not so much that it's a bad idea. It's more of a matter of it's what my opponent can do. It's just not enough. Like, now my opponent doesn't have a board state. And now we start to pull ahead. Classic turn 7, Ethervile. Love to see it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think we just call for ramming up here. Oh, that's right. There's no more. What's his name anymore? I'm not gonna play the Skyclave here because my opponent doesn't have any. I'd rather just kill whatever creature they put this on. And I'm not cracking just yet because I can force my opponent to sack multiple of these lands. I just have to not activate Reclaimer. We're gonna be fine. I don't know why my opponent is still playing. White, white, and 1. Great that we don't longer play Vile ourselves. In a Roof deck. Well, I started playing Oof after I got the Vials. Opponent says GG. Give them the GG back. Three and 1. Deck continues to perform very well. Opponent is still in this. Just believe. Yeah, they totally could have won somehow. Deck looks sweet. I'm all good. Like, all right, Stevie B. Thank you. Thanks for hanging out. Can we go back to our 4-on-1 ways? Sure. It's not the best hand I've ever seen, but it will do. Turn 1 Reclaimer really is very strong. If we draw Flagstones, of course, this hand just explodes and it becomes absolutely nuts. If only we could be that lucky. The good thing now is that we don't have to do anything. Now we just don't have to cast spells. It's actually kind of awkward. A little bit awkward. The good thing is that if my opponent presents a field or something, like this has to be just blue-white control, right? And if they present a field or something, obviously now not anymore, but we would have been able to. It's actually kind of awkward now. I guess I'm getting Sanctuary because it gives me Titan mana and it allows me to protect the cavern. Oh, I was getting Land from the Path. I forgot about that. Whoopsies. Should have gotten Field of the Dead. Just gonna pass the turn here. Very unlucky that we drew 3 of our Path to Exiles against the matchup where Path to Exile is completely worthless. Sucks a little bit, but I didn't play the cavern obviously to not for so it is not exposed to. Main deck Gust. So it doesn't get exposed to field is what I was gonna say. There's no way they have main deck Gust, right? No, they don't. Snapcaster Path, be my guest. Guess my opponent wants to double up on my triggers. Thank you for that. Oh, do they have Stifle? That would be sick. Oh no, they don't have Stifle. I mean, of course, I say Stifle, but I mean like something like Tail's End or Disallow. Those were the cards that I was thinking of. Haven Mind Sensor Mainboard. Yeah, probably. I wouldn't believe that one, but Big Tef. That guy is hella dead. You don't even know how dead that guy is. This plays into force, but my opponent doesn't have Mana Leak. Peachy and Snappy. Okay. Just gonna expose 1 Dryad. Remand. Oh wow. Logic Knot? Holy shit, I had not seen Logic Knot in so long. Brutal. Okay. Tuck to Fairy, them. Okay, I'm gonna start playing very differently now. Because now I don't think my opponent has a Wrath effect. If you got to design a card for the next set, what kind of card would you design? That is the kind of question that I would probably have to think about. Cryptic tap. Double creatures to a card. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What kind of card would I design? Probably a creature. Let's get double Valakut. They might have Path to Exile, but always yes, always yes, always yield. They do not have Path to Exile. 3 mana, 3/3 trample, finds a land on ETB and attack. That'd be pretty sick. Might be a little bit too much though. Path. Han, thank you so much for the sub. Whoops, one path too many. Cut the path, cut the path. Damn it. Keep this hand though. Got a cavern. That's 18 months, my friend. That's a lot of months. Let me tell you that's a lot of months. No Teague. I don't think that Teague does too much in this kind of matchup. Your opponent just answers it and they just go about their business. This does something in this matchup though. Both of these are dryads. Isn't that sick? Let's see if you've left your forces, opponent. Let's see if you have left your forces. They did! Wow! They left their forces. Alright, so now we got a game. Okay. They left their forces. Absolutely wild. Yes, always healed. Path, my dude. Get a green source. I could cast Explore, but no, I guess I actually could have made my extra land up. That was a mistake. I guess I didn't want to make my extra land up anyway, because I want to protect this from a field or something. We're gonna play this on Titan, on Giant, sorry. Yeah, still play this on Giant. And jam 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is my Titan. These are my zombies. And I guess that I could, I don't want to explore. I want to save the call though, because there's kind of no reason for me to run it into a mana leak or something. Literally no reason whatsoever, so here I'm just gonna force my opponent to do stuff. Whatever they do, we have to do it before attacks. Cryptic, tap all creatures and draw a card. That is acceptable. Cool. For Dryad. Play Dryad. Vesuva, copy Sanctuary. Dome you. Yes, always yield. Green. Explore. Play this. Dome you. Play this. Dome you. Sick. Such a sick deck. Can I share a completely fine meme here? Of course. Fine memes are always welcome. This list is pretty good, folks. This list is pretty good. Four and 1. Fine result. Fine result. Fine result. I do enjoy this version of the deck. I do enjoy playing my one-offs. I think I just have a better time when I do this kind of stuff. Like when I, instead of playing a more streamlined, a little bit more boring, just like explore version of the deck, just playing a bunch of one-offs, and we won earlier because we were able to call for a ramming app that was just insta game winning, which was great in this very league. Like those kind of play patterns are only allowed in a situation like this. In a list like this is what I mean. So I think that there's a lot of value in having this this kind of deck building, right? Having a deck building that is centered about getting the value from your one-off threats. Tracker is probably like the most medium one. It is a very, very fine main deck inclusion, but it is like the whole point of having access to a bunch of one-offs is because you are hopefully going to be using Iladamber Skull, you're going to be using your tutors in order to go get your one-offs. So the chances or the situations where you would want to go get a tracker are very, very slim. What I would think is something like you had a Springbloom Druid in your opener and your opponent Thoughtseize it or Inquisition it or something like that, so you don't have access to it, but you don't have the 6 mana just yet. The problem is, like with a list like this, if given the choice to go find the tracker, like if you don't have the amount of mana, if given the choice to go find the tracker or go find a dude that just gets you to 6 mana to find Titan, more often than not, just getting Springbloom is going to be significantly better. So that is why Tracker feels a little bit like the weird inclusion that I'm not very sure about. And out of all of the options that I have access to in the main deck, is the most iffy one. But again, it's because of what the card does by design, right? Like, you don't really have Tracker in your deck as a one-off to tutor for. You have it because it's a fine value creature that you actively want to draw. You draw naturally, so it's a value engine and the deck is value engine.deck, right? No, it's more of a matter of the situations where you would want to find Tracker instead of finding Primetime are very much zero, right? The only situation would be if you're facing a Blood Moon, but if you're facing a Blood Moon, wouldn't you rather go find an answer to that Blood Moon? So that is kind of the point, right? It's in a very, very weird spot in terms of what it does, like what it adds to the deck. And it is in a very weird spot where you don't really go call for the Tracker ever. And when you draw it, you're kind of like, yeah, fine, cool, this is a fine card. Like, I'm not sad that I drew the Tracker, but I'm also not actively happy that I drew the Tracker either. And again, given the option to tutor for Tracker, I will very likely just go get a card that ramps me and gets me towards Titan instead of getting Tracker itself. So that is the main problem that I have with this card. With this card as the one-off. So yeah, I don't know what we could play instead. We could play something like Elder Gargaroth, which is what Musasabi very often plays. Musasabi loves Gargaroth. The problem I have with Gargaroth is every time I played with it, it's been super lackluster. Like, it just wasn't enough to stabilize, or my opponent just answered it and it didn't really do anything. That kind of stuff, you know? What about the Legendary Boar? I tried a Yasharn. It just didn't quite do it. Basically, the problem with Yasharn is that it is not impactful enough in the modern format. We played it yesterday in Legacy. And I was actually pretty happy with it. Like, Yasharn did a bunch of things that I honestly wasn't expecting it to do. Like, it really messed up my opponent with their Doomsday pile. Like, I literally just put Yasharn in play and my opponent just could not win anymore because their Doomsday pile that they had already set up had like a bunch of Street Raids and Edge of Autumn, like cards like that were completely blank the second that Yasharn hit play. So there's like a lot of side effects to Yasharn that are very, very impactful in a format like Legacy, but are not really that impactful in Modern. So this is like, it just messes with fetch lands. That's the only real thing that Yasharn does, and that's just not enough for the Modern format, right? It's just not enough for the Modern format. So I tried Yasharn for like 2 leagues and I was very unimpressed by it. so I just cut it. Is it possible there is a red 3/4/5 drop we can use out of the toolbox? No, I don't think so. Like I just don't. I don't really want to go deep on this splash. Like this splash is here with a very specific purpose, right? This splash is here with an extremely specific purpose, and there's no real reason for me to mess up with my mana. Like, one of the beauties is that there's very many matchups where I just don't care about the red source. I just don't care about going to get the red source, and I simply just do something else. I just never get the Sacred Foundry. I just make sure that I have green, white, and that's it. Like, my mana is super consistent. Played one Shalai, one Eidolon Rhetoric, or one Tracker, one Explore. Shalai was also a card that I tried in the past, and it was actually reasonable. It was actually reasonable. Yeah, hell yeah. I had forgotten about the waifu mode. That's some good stuff right there. But yeah, the problem that I had with Shalai was it didn't really hose very many decks. Nylea has the same issue that Tracker does. Nylea has the exact same issue that Tracker does. It's just like you're never going to be calling for Nylea, except Nylea it's sometimes worse when you naturally draw it, even though it's better when you call for it. Like when you call for Nylea against like John or something, you're doing it. Is Sarkhan Ephemeria over the top beats and turns off Clippy Lock? I talked about it at the beginning. Yes, Archon was the card that I had. Archon was actually the card that I cut to make room for the Explorer and the Grazer. In all my previous streams on YouTube, you can see that I've been playing Archon, and it's been okay. But the problem is that it's just been okay. Even in the matchups where it's good, if you don't naturally draw it, oftentimes just turn 3 is just too slow, or they have remand like Storm. Buenas noches, ¿crees que esta lista es cara de montar en físico desde cero? No, buena pregunta, Blackhawk. ¿Te molesta si te respondo en inglés así respondo en general? Yeah, no, it's kind of weird. The question that Blackhawk is asking is whether this card is expensive to put together in paper, and it is not. This is probably one of the cheapest tier 1.5 decks in Modern. This is definitely one of the cheapest tier 1.5 decks in Modern. In paper, the expensive cards are Flagstones. Flagstones was a $2 card 2 months ago, and now it's a $20 card. So it used to be cheap, but now it's not anymore. We have the one of Cavern of Souls, which you cannot play the Cavern. Like, it's fine if you don't play Cavern. Reclaimers are super cheap. Fields are expensive in MTGO, but they are cheap in paper. I think Vesuva might be expensive, and I don't know how expensive Valakuts are. But if you have the fetches, which are probably, these are still from the cheap fetches, so that these should be less than $20 each. But I think that there's no card that's more expensive than $10. All of these cards are cheaper than $10 each. So the only expensive cards are these. In paper, that is. Every single other card in the deck is less than $10. Field is going up in paper. Well, there you go. So you better buy it. You better buy it quickly if you're interested in. And if you want to buy your cards, make sure that you use my TCG Player affiliate link, and you can support the stream for free and no extra cost to you while you get your cards. And then the sideboard as well. Gadopti was like $40 at one point, and now it's actually super cheap. And same thing. I think everything in the sideboard is less than $10 as well. Maybe Boil is expensive. I don't know how expensive Boil is nowadays. I got my copies of Boil like years ago for like 30 cents or something. But yeah, Teague was the only card that was expensive. And the good thing is that a bunch of the expensive cards are replaceable. Like Cavern is replaceable. Teague is replaceable. And there's just no other expensive cards, so... Unfortunately, the fetch lands are not replaceable. You could play the list with Vesuva. I think that Vesuva is very, very good in this list. So I think that you would be playing a worse version of the deck if you cut Vesuva. But you can definitely play without Cavern. You don't need Cavern. Once you have the expensive mana base, you can easily switch between 3-5 different shells at each place. Yeah, exactly. That is a good point. That is a good point. You can move things around a lot. And personally, I think this deck is here to stay. I think at this point, this deck has proven itself that I am pretty sure that this deck is here to stay. This is now a modern mainstay. This is one of the tier decks in the modern format. And it's very, very powerful. The only way that I could see this deck dying is if Field of the Dead gets banned. If Field of the Dead gets banned, I think that this deck actually dies. I think that Amulet could still survive, but this deck is going to die because it would just not be powerful enough, unfortunately. So a Field of the Dead ban would be probably the literal only way that this deck would stop being a tier deck. Yeah, I think that if they ban Field, this deck cannot compete. Like, you could still play it, but you just cannot compete with the rest of the format, right? I think even if they ban Valakut for whatever reason, or they ban the Dryad, if they ban Dryad, it's a little bit more questionable. But if they ban Valakut, I think. Well, I think if they ban Valakut, you might just not play Dryad at all, and you would just go ham on Springbloom Druids and stuff. But Field of the Dead is definitely the backbone of this deck. Without Field, the Reclaimer, because the thing is that Field is what makes a Reclaimer a game-ending threat. Without Field, Reclaimer doesn't win the game anymore. It's like a toolbox. It's a toolbox tool, yeah, but it doesn't actually win the game. So your opponent doesn't really need to answer it. So Field of the Dead banning would be the way that this deck would die. Never gets boring that way, which is why I like it so much. Yeah, exactly. It's extremely customizable. Yeah, I recommend you check out the list that I played on Tuesday with like Omnats and stuff and Uros. That list is a lot more expensive than this one, but it was a lot of fun, and it really speaks to the flexibility of the deck. So you can start with this. If you ever get bored, you can still do other stuff. And like this deck, unlike something like Scape Shift, is not so linear. Like you're trying to achieve the same thing every match, like most decks are anyway. But what this has is like the avenues to get there are so unique and so on a one for one basis. So like the play that was correct on the first on one match it might not be correct in the next one. If they ban Dryad, then Amulet goes back to Slay Stronghold, etc. Yes, so totally 100%. I don't think they would ban Valakut before some other egregious card. I don't think so either. But I'm just speaking about a scenario where this deck could be hurt, or it could stop being tier 1. I think Modern is too great right now for a ban anywhere, even if I want Mystic Sanctuary to die. Mystic Sanctuary is the only one close to a banning, and I've been talking about the banning of Neoform for years at this point. I really wish that Neoform would die. Oops all spells to an extent as well. We love this Mystic Sanctuary to be collected by everyone and burned. I mean, the good thing about Mystic Sanctuary is that it wouldn't kill any deck if it were to get banned. So I think that's one of the main reasons to ban it. Wild88, thank you for the follow. It doesn't kill any deck. It doesn't kill any deck, and it's a common. and all of the decks that Mystic Sanctuary is played on would continue to be some of the most expensive decks in the format. They would just not have this silly common that is completely egregious. Omnath doesn't deserve a ban. If Omnath is if Mystic Sanctuary is handled, I think that Omnath, like, it's brutal, but I don't think it's ban worthy. I think that Field of the Dead is more ban worthy than Omnath. Red Wing Scapeshift is dead. No, yes. I think Red Wing Scapeshift is a strictly worse version of this deck. I have 2 full copies. I won't trade. I want to burn them. Nice. If you won't really increase the price, you can even play Jace. Go dip. Kindness to discuss today in which matchup he board out Reclaimer. I think there are no matchups where we side out Reclaimer. I used to side out Reclaimer. And then the more that I thought about it, the more I realized that I don't think that there's any matchup where you want to side out Reclaimer. Literally no matchup at all. And I used to side it out in the matchups where Reclaimer was very, very likely to die. But the thing about Reclaimer is that it will always be trading up on mana, or at least it will be trading evenly on mana. So even in the matchups where Reclaimer is quote-unquote bad, something like against Red-Black Prowess, or against the Shadow deck, even against Jund, like against Jund, if your opponent doesn't have, if you play Reclaimer on 1 and your opponent doesn't have the Lightning Bolt on 1, they are super far behind. Same thing against the other decks. And if you go turn 1 Reclaimer, your opponent cannot really afford, like if you go turn 2 Flagstone, you're actually ahead. Like you're actually ahead regardless of what they do almost. You can even go get Blast Zone and blow up their 1-drops and stuff. So that means that they have to spend their turn 1 killing their Reclaimer instead of spending their turn 1 developing their game plan by playing a threat. So the more that I thought about Reclaimer, the more that I realized that even in the matchups where it feels like it's bad because it's not really doing anything, it's still very, very good from the way in which it forces your opponent to interact. And yes, in those matchups, maybe drawing it on turn 6 is bad, but most cards that you would draw on turn 6 might be bad. And if you draw it on turn 6 after the dust has settled and your opponent doesn't have a removal for it, this little guy is going to win the game on its own. So even still, even when it's a bad top deck, it's not that bad. It's not like Amulet, right? Like in Amulet, when you top deck a Gracer or a Stacy on turn 8, like you're just dead. But now, like your 1-drop just wins the game on its own. So okay, what else? Have you watched Groundhog Day? Mystic Sanctuary is the MTG version of that movie. That's hilarious. I actually watched that movie like a month ago, maybe. So that's really funny that you brought it up. It kills inventing turns. Do you think there are any cards that can be unbanned right now? Yes, I think Punishing Fire could potentially be unbanned, and we actually had a super long discussion about bans and unbans on stream like a month ago, maybe a little bit less than that. It was actually interesting when you are, actively setting yourself to talk about bans. It's actually not a bad discussion to have. What's up, Scott? How's it going? Sanctuary and Field are OP. Yeah, those are the cards that are at the top of my list in terms of banning. And then Allosaurus Rider is always at the top of my list in terms of wanting for it to be banned. Everything depends on the broken cards in the next sets. If any more cards appear for the control decks, or Omnath will be banned. I don't know if will be banned is a word, but could be banned is definitely a thing. Yeah, I think that Udo is more so of an offender than Omnath. Love Titan Talks on Spotify. Oh, thank you, Pierre. I appreciate it. What is this build weak to? A fast combo. This build struggles with stuff like Storm, Upsol spells, Neobrand that we just talked about. You just basically have no tools, so you just have to kind of hope that you are given a couple of turns. A lot of decks in the format are in that situation, right? A lot of decks in the format are in that situation, and that's why I really, really hate that those decks are part of the format, because the format is just not ready for them, and they can't really be kept in check that effectively. Why do you think Feel of the Dead will be banned? I don't think that it will be banned. I think that it's the card that's closest to need to be banned. That would be a more precise way of putting it. You don't have a house command. Why would I have a house command? We were joking, but realistically, Reclaimer is the baby primetime. Yeah, 100%. Elvish Reclaimer is basically what Knight of the Reliquary wishes it were nowadays in Modern, which is a funny thing to say, but it really is about the sack clause and the mana cost. The fact that you can sack Flagstones is what makes this deck. If this card did not exist, if Flagstones weren't a card that has been printed, this deck would not exist. But this, I am always joking when I say that this is Splinter Twin, but like it kind of is. Like I am low-key being I am low-key being serious when I say Splinter Twin. Does it feel like this deck falls to Heliod Ballista like Amulet? Well, you have removal, which Amulet doesn't. You have removal, which Amulet doesn't. You have even more removal in the sideboard. You have access to cards like Collector Oof. And you can beat Moto Infinite Life. You cannot beat like Paper Infinite Life, but you can beat Moto Infinite Life. And you are a lot more consistent at assembling Dryad plus Valakut, because you have 4 ways of getting the Valakut, of searching for the Valakut, while Amulet only has the 4 Titans. We also have Reclaimer here. So whenever you have Valakut plus Dryad going, that's when you can actually keep back the Heliod deck. So it is a lot more beatable. They need to print a Flagstones card for each color. That would be broken, probably. Do you like more Amulet or this list? In terms of enjoying playing the deck, I think right now, because it always changes, right? But right now, I think I'm in a spot where I am enjoying this deck more than Amulet, in terms of how I have a good time playing it, like legit enjoyment, liking the play patterns, liking the puzzles that it presents. I think I like this deck better nowadays. But overall, I mean, Amulet is Amulet for me, right? Like it's never gonna be going anywhere. Apparition does a lot against Heliod decks. That's also true. Being able to exile Heliod is a big deal. The ability to instant speed a Valakut is critical too. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So your opponent can company and they can set up the combo, but as long as you have an active Reclaimer plus Dryad, you're still fine. Like you can still force your opponent to be the first one to act. Well, folks, thank you so much for checking out the video. I hope that you enjoyed the gameplay and the discussion. We got a nice little 4-on-1, which is a good time. But yeah, unfortunately, I'm going to cut a little bit short. I'm having a little bit of a headache right now, so I'm not feeling particularly well. But if you're watching on YouTube, thank you so much for checking out the video. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and I will see you on the next stream tomorrow. So thank you very much. Bye bye, and like and subscribe.